What's next? What's next?
Welcome back to the second episode of the So What's Next podcast. I'm Seth.
And I'm Duke.
And we have our good friend Daniel here with us.
How's it going, guys?
Hey, Daniel.
No, we're not doing that, bro.
Daniel? Fun fact, actually, this Daniel is in fact not the same Daniel as the damn Daniel.
From the famous Vine. Who remembers Vine, actually? Anyone still have that app?
That's
I think
old.
I have.
I think it's all
That's
TikTok
old.
now.
But,
Honestly,
I
think,
still have the app, though, just like I have, what's the other app? Flappy Bird? I still have that, too.
You remember when they would sell that people would sell that with on their iPhones?
I saw
Like-
one for $10,000.
Yeah, something ridiculous like that.
And you know what? Someone probably bought it.
Yeah, they did.
100%. Yeah, because people were going crazy about it because they were like, yeah, somebody sold this online, so then everyone started selling it, and then that became a huge thing.
Look, can we just be honest? That game sucked.
It was
So-
awful. It was
So are you
garbage.
saying that, like, right now I could actually sell my phone for, like, a couple grand?
No.
I mean, if you were living back in, 2012. Yeah, 100%, yeah.
You know what? I realized that I tried using it, and it was not working. It said something about the maker of this app didn't
Oh,
update
because
something.
they have to update it for every iOS. So it's probably on iOS
0.
6.
Yeah,
some-
2.
some-
What
Oh,
iOS are we on now?
I think 12.
13.41,
13.
I think. I only know that because
You had an update yesterday.
my girlfriend
that.
got a notification for the
That
update.
she has an update?
Yeah, but have you
Oh.
seen that TikTok where it's like, oh, like, let me teach y'all how to, like, hoe out? And it's like, you make their contact settings in all caps and then make the
Oh, I've
The
seen
logo
that.
of
Yeah,
the-
I've seen that.
of the app icon as, like, their contact picture. And then so that's how you, like, get away with, like,
So someone
no one's
texts
going to
you,
question,
says
like, a settings thing.
So-
So she got a notification from it. And I was like, oh, like, who's that, your other boyfriend? she was like, no. She's like, it's just an update. And she's like, 13.41. I was like, who's this 13.41 guy? Fuck
I'm
that guy.
pretty sure she played you. She finessed.
Honestly?
she
Like-
finessed.
Seriously.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if that's someone's name. I mean, Elon Musk, he's a kid now who's like
oh
X,
my God.
XZ3 or slash
No,
A.
it's
something.
X Ash A12.
Okay, so they
It's
could
the
nickname him.
AE, but it's pronounced Ash.
Okay, so how do you know?
We should
that?
get Elon on here. Well, I saw the clip it from the Joe Rogan podcast where he was
Oh, okay.
explaining how to.
Of course, damn it, Joe Rogan. He knows everything.
At Joe Rogan podcast sponsor us.
The man knows everything.
Have a podcast sponsor a podcast.
I mean, we could make that happen. It could be a thing, a new thing. 'Cause-
Start it.
Yeah.
Look, Joe Rogan, you can buy me out.
Whoa, you
Like,
gotta
straight
sell out. We gotta sell out, everybody. Attention, Seth is a sellout.
Well, I am Mike 1, so I am the star. But...
Actually, I think today we're recording you on mic 3. I don't know if anyone's told you, but
I think they actually did him a solid and they put him up to Mike 6.
yeah, that's crazy because we only have 3.
Feeling pretty shitty about that one, gonna be honest with you.
You go from mic 1 in the first episode, or was it the intro?
Did I do super bad? Is that why I'm
You know what?
downgraded,
I
or-
think we saw a few comments saying that like the intro sucked because you were mic 1, so we had to adjust.
Is it because I shouted out your OnlyFans?
Oh, by the way, guys, for those that are curious, I'm gonna put the link down below for my OnlyFans. You guys can check that out. It's gonna be a lot of like mustache accent and just
Yeah,
like,
it's
a little
just
bit of like
Up close pictures of his mustache.
yeah. Just,
with,
I kind of shaved it down. A little
Who's-
bit. I don't know
maybe
if the
a foot
camera can
pick or
like.
two.
What
Close up,
person's
but-
life is in shambles that much that they need to go to your OnlyFans?
You know what? I'm just gonna act like that didn't happen. You just say that because I think
Who-
out there some people are into mustaches.
Who
and I
wouldn't
think-
want to look at his mustache? That was
Thank you.
glorious. It's like,
Where-
when
where
when
is
it's
it?
rose-
Caterpillar.
Where
okay,
is it right
okay.
now?
I shaved it a little bit today because just to be respectful of you guys, and I didn't want to show out a little.
now I
too
feel
much.
like I should have shaved.
But
I'm feeling.
I shaved. I'm good. I'm looking great.
I mean, you
Alright,
still have
well,
a mustache.
That's probably why I'm
Well,
on mic 3.
Yeah,
but-
more than you.
We might need you for a feature on my OnlyFans. Like,
Yeah, just the mustache. You can put.
yo, that's gonna be a thing. I promise you. You know how there's like feet stuff, like people.
There's
into
just gonna be a
feet?
mustache
Dude,
picture.
there's a fetish for everything.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure out there some people would like. the
There's
mustache.
definitely a mustache.
Someone can appreciate it.
100%. I have no doubt.
That's definitely something I'm gonna look into.
Some of the things that you see, it just I don't want to call any out because I don't want to offend anyone.
Right, because every fetish is acceptable. You know.
Dan, I feel
Some
like you
are.
got some crazy ones. I feel like you got some crazy fetishes.
You?
You. I'm
Me?
talking about you. Yeah. You.
No.
Nah,
That
He's-
ain't me.
he seems pretty normal.
I don't think so. I think he's probably into like
But I mean, also
ankles.
like, also, I mean, to be
Living in the 1800s, he would have a field day when a girl showed her ankle.
just
Oh,
looking down.
whoa! Too much skin.
Girl, let me see them ankles.
You see them cankles.
See, that's not funny.
I mean, dude.
Cankles out there.
No.
Cankles are attractive, actually. I think.
I mean, people who
What? Are you being serious?
You know, gotta appreciate a nice cankle. Something about a cankle is.
so he tried to
Yeah.
project onto me his cankle fetish. Is what I'm getting from
Yeah,
that.
exactly.
Maybe. Okay, guilty. Okay. All right, we're just gonna move on from the fetishes. It's gonna be a different
Yeah,
episode.
yeah, of course.
Dude.
Yeah.
I mean, I would say this would be a more serious episode. Rather than anything.
You know, nothing's ever gonna be too serious here. Gotta make
Yeah, I
it,
mean, if you can
know.
joke about,
Yeah.
ideally you'd be able to joke about whatever. You know
Well,
what I mean?
I meant more like one of the more serious.
Yeah, more
episodes
serious. I
rather
guess
than
more
like-
serious topics for.
Yeah, that is true, but I think we can all appreciate a good cankle. So, but okay, whatever.
Of course.
Forget the cankles. Okay, so let's get to it.
So I'll kind of like tell the story of like how everything came to be where I'm at now of like a little over 4.5 years sober.
Which, by the way, that is huge because I know how hard like something like
Yeah.
that can be. At least I haven't personally experienced it because I'm not, you know, I still have a drink here and there. But I know just from like hearing about it and like watching different like documentaries how like
Yeah.
being sober is like one of the hardest things you can do and staying sober.
Yeah.
And plus, you've been doing it for you said over 4
A
years.
little
now?
over 4.5.
Dude, that is.
It'll be
huge.
July 25.
Shout out to you for that. Congrats,
Yeah,
man. That's
appreciate
huge.
it.
Plus, the thing is, I think when I think again, you're gonna talk about your story, but when I think of people that are like that say, dude, like I've been sober X amount of years or X amount of days, even. I just have this image in my head of what they're supposed to look like. I'm just
Right.
picturing like the worst. And when I see you, plus now we're friends, and it's kind of like I'm like, dude, I could unless you tell me that like, hey man, like I'm sober and like I some crazy things have happened, I would never know. But in my head, I have this picture of like someone that's telling me like, yeah, I'm X amount of years sober. I have like just this notion like, oh, I can tell that you've been through some stuff or you've experienced some things. But like looking at you, it's just like I would not know. I'm like, but then you tell people it's like, oh really, like,
Dude,
oh.
and when you hear too, it's something that's like you'll hear it and you'll really be, I don't want to say shocked, I don't want to like blow it out of proportion or anything like that, but it's something that you would never expect someone who has a fucking baby face like me, like
Yeah.
who like is polite and shit,
Yeah.
like to have a story to have,
Yeah,
'cause
exactly.
because I grew up very privileged.
Yeah.
My dad's a doctor, like my mom, she was a physical therapist, like they were very caring parents, like
Yes.
anything that I needed, like necessities, like they was there.
And we love that.
So yeah, I was very lucky. So I went to private school my whole life. Like my
Hey,
entire
shout out
life.
to private school. I did too.
Yeah, yeah.
Public. Where you at?
So it was here in South Florida, and 15 was the first time I ever smoked weed. First time, and I definitely got high because you hear like people are like, oh, you won't get high the first time, blah blah blah. It's like
Yeah,
no,
no,
it's
that happened to me too.
yeah, like
It
it's
took I think 4 times for me.
yeah. See, there you go, exactly. So I don't know. It just happened, and I remember like I did it like 2 other times after that, and then I was like, all right, like I don't really, I enjoy it, but
Why do I feel like I just can't relate every time? Like, you say something, I'm just like, I can't relate. I haven't smoked yet. I think I might just have to do
Yet?
it. Just
that's
to
good.
just,
That's impressive though.
just to like say.
Honestly, it really is impressive.
Well, because everybody smokes weed, bro.
That is very true.
I am
I'm
surrounded
the
by
oddball
it.
now for not
A
smoking.
lot.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
that also is an impressive feat. The fact that you have not touched weed, like
Yeah.
especially throughout college. You know what I mean?
Have I
Like,
thought of doing it? Yeah, a lot of times because it's like you hang out with people again like people our age, like everyone smokes, just like they're all smoking. You're kind of there like maybe today's the day I do it, or maybe I should try it. And there's nothing wrong with it because obviously it's just weed. Who
it's
cares?
normalized now.
It's like, it's normalized. So it's like, and shout out to whoever does it. Like it doesn't matter, but it's just I've always had this personal thing where I'm like, you know what? I just want this as a challenge for me. It's
Right.
like I'm just not gonna smoke weed.
Yeah.
Do I drink? Yeah, but will I smoke? No. And I've thought of it, but it's just, I feel like
Honestly,
it's just a
you're
matter
not,
of being able
you're
to
not
just
missing out on too much.
yeah.
I mean, I
People
think
would argue that, but
using it as so I haven't smoked in 4, maybe 5 years. It's been since the last time I smoked weed,
Mm.
and I mean, the only aspect of it that I miss is using it as a social lubricant.
That's
Especially
literally,
when I
yeah.
got to college, because I got to orientation, and when I was in my group, there were like a group of guys, there was a group of girls. I mean, it was like a middle school dance.
Yeah.
Very strange. It was college.
Yeah.
Obviously, they separated, and then like one of the guys were like, "Yo, like you smoke?" And I was like, "Nah," and he immediately just turned around and walked away, and then
Dude,
found
it's
the other
crazy.
guys.
Story
that
of my
smoked.
life.
It's crazy.
And then he just went with them, and I was like, okay. So
Story
then
of my life,
my whole
really.
orientation was just a strange experience because I don't smoke. So I was like, okay, like.
You're weird.
dude, it's
That's strange.
No, dude, and
So I was like, all right, like I'm just gonna get this over with and get the fuck out of here. Like,
yeah.
because it was just sitting there listening to people talk the whole
Yeah.
time. But using it as a social lubricant is insane, especially like if you just meet someone, you're just like, oh, like
It's the
Oh,
It's,
easiest way
it's
Yeah,
also
you
the
smoke?
first it's the first question.
It's
yeah,
the
and they're like,
easiest
oh
way to make
yeah,
friends
and
now.
then you smoke them out, and they're like, oh, like get talking, and then boom, like you're friends.
Fun facts. I just found out, like, just recently what smoke me out means, by the way. Every time I heard
You
it,
don't smoke weed, so how would you know?
I
Yeah.
just felt like, it was just like, oh, like, it's when you do that little thing, you blow it and they pick it up.
I don't even know what the fuck you're talking about.
Yeah. I think,
You know what I'm
I
talking
think-
about. It's like you blow,
I mean,
and someone.
oh,
You mean like a
shotgunning.
shotgun?
Yeah, shotgunning. But dude, that's not even like
Yo,
like someone
dudes
inhaling
aren't gonna
it.
do
Are
that
you
to
talking
dudes.
about?
Oh, okay. You know what? Yeah. Okay. There's that. I didn't
'Cause
put
the way
that
you were
much thought
explaining
into it. I just kind of knew that in my mind, smoking out means, oh yeah, I'm gonna blow it, and then you catch it. I
See, the
didn't-
thing, no. So what I'm picturing literally is that somebody's literally holding a blunt in their hands, and there's ash. That's like a big thing of ash, and literally someone's going.
Okay, no, I
blowing
didn't.
someone's face.
No,
That's the way that you're explaining.
not
it.
what
That's
we're
it
talking
sounds
about
like.
here.
No,
what
he's
we're
talking more about like a shotgun.
Okay,
yeah,
sure.
that's
Look.
that's what I thought too.
I love my friends. You're for acquaintance, so you don't count. But like,
Okay,
I'm not gonna do that with my
Okay,
friends.
Yeah,
we're
no,
not-
there's no-
okay, I didn't. Let's move on from that. It was obviously a mistake.
Anyway,
Yeah.
so yeah, no, that's literally a social lubricant.
Yeah.
That's like the first thing that people talk about. But so for the first time I ever tried it was when I was 15, and I loved it. It was great, but I wasn't like going crazy. Like I smoked, and then like the next day I smoked again, and then I didn't smoke again till I was 17. When I was 17, I went to Colorado because I got to like experience University of Colorado as like a pre-college thing before my senior year of high school.
Oh, cool.
And so there was a kid who was on the trip who was very, he was a connoisseur of weed. And his
yeah, that's
parents,
nice.
his parents were like spoiled, like they didn't give a fuck. They approved of it and everything. So they would literally send him like $1,000, buy like whatever, probably like a pound at the time, Colorado, whatever, cheaper, but good shit. So I smoked the entire trip. And I remember like one time we went to Red Rocks. I took edibles for the first time there too, which was absolutely insane. Like for chocolate bars, they like recommend you take like a little bit at a time,
Mhm.
and normally people don't do that because they're so used to smoking weed, where it's like it hits right away. But
Yeah.
edibles it's a process.
Okay.
Like you have to digest and it hits your blood, whatever. I was supposed to take one every half hour and then take it from there, but I didn't have time for that.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
I just didn't, like, where the bus was leaving to go to
Yeah.
Red Rocks. And so it was leaving the dorm. So I was like, okay, like, I already took 2, like,
Oh.
I'm going to take 7.
Oh.
So,
That's a big jump.
yeah. So I took 7 of them. And I don't remember the bus ride. I think that's when it hit. And then I remember being at Red Rocks in, like, bits and pieces. But I remember, like, we were watching E.T. And I couldn't figure out which one was the alien. Like, out of all the characters, they all looked the same to me. They all looked like aliens because I was
Okay.
so high. Anyways, so after that, I came back to my senior year of high school, and I loved weed. I was like, I really want to smoke weed.
I love weed.
I-
Shaq.
Yeah, I loved weed.
Let's make it a T-shirt.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so there was only one kid that I knew who, like, I knew consistently smoked. So I hit him up. And so the first time that he hung out with me, because I didn't fuck with anybody in high school. I was, like, just doing my own thing. I was, like, just trying to get to college. I was over it. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't fuck with anyone. I had a couple of friends, but I didn't really feel like... I always felt like an outcast. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like, I feel
yeah.
like people didn't fuck with me. Like, I was just like, I was quiet, whatever. So I started hanging out with this kid. He smoking weed all the time. So at first it was, he would be like, yo, yeah, like you can smoke, like just, you know, you want to buy some weed from me? I'd be like, yeah, I'd buy the weed, and then we'd smoke all of it. And so we'd smoke all the weed together. And then there was a certain point where it was just like, it was literally just like me spending money to smoke him out. So I was like, all right, like, fuck this. Like, I don't know. Like, there was a certain point in time where I was like, dude, can you pitch in? Because we were hanging out all the time. So eventually it turned into us becoming, like, best friends. Like, tight. Real tight. We went to school stoned. Like, it was like, I'd get up at 5 a.m. School started at 8:15. Get up at 5 a.m. I was the only one who had a bong at the school during our senior year. So, what's it called? I smoked, and then we would like smoke it on campus.
You got up
too.
at 5.
Yeah, sorry, I just fucking.
No,
we get up at 5.
I get it. Take your time. I'm sure it's like
Yeah.
talking about something like that is probably taking you back.
I mean,
to
dude,
that.
this is literally the beginning.
Yeah, I can imagine it taking you back to that place. So just
Right. Whatever. We smoked in the morning. 5 a.m. I'd get up. We'd smoke out of the bong. Go to school. Everyone knew that I was like stoned or whatever. And
like
then,
you were that guy.
Yeah, I was that guy.
Okay.
Literally.
We all know that guy.
That guy.
I had a
Okay.
lot of those guys in my high school. It was actually very common for people to smoke before school. And
Yeah.
then go into
You're
school
just
high.
known for
I
that.
had people dropping tabs in class. I had people ripping dad pens in class. and
Yeah.
stuff.
No, it's really common.
They
Yeah.
would go to the boys' locker room, and they would call it deep sea crabbing. They're like
Did what?
deep sea crabbing to like take dabs. Someone would bring a dab rig and like a torch,
Yeah.
like a blowtorch,
Yeah.
and smoke dabs.
All right, we
'Cause you gotta heat that up.
find those guys and like we gotta have a talk with them.
So-
Holy cow!
They would just go down to the boys' locker room and in between classes and stuff, and people would like take turns like ripping dabs, and the code that they would use would they'd be like, oh, you want to go deep sea crabbing, and
That-
like that's what it was.
That's awesome.
Smart.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I'll just skip ahead. I'll just like skip to the part where like things like started going downhill because everything was great.
Yeah.
It was fun. I had a good time.
You're just
Yeah.
a pothead.
Yeah, literally. But I remember the first time that like I started dabbling in other shit
Mm-hmm.
because we were at his house. His mom had just gotten out of the hospital, and she had a pill bottle of oxys in her like mirror or whatever. And I remember seeing them or whatever. I was like, okay, like I don't really need it. Smoking weed's great.
Yeah.
And I remember like being in the bathroom one day, and we were stoned, but I think we were like running low on weed or something like that. I saw the oxys in the. I was like, I went in his room. I was like, yo, dude, like, trying to pop a pill? What's going on? You down? He's like, are you down? I said, oh yeah, I'm fucking down. So we took them. Didn't feel anything. Anyways, fast forward, summer. Everybody who I knew, who I was like smoking with, hanging out with, they all went to college. Like their first semester, summers like A, B, and C, FSU, UF, whatever. So I was going to the University of Arizona. So my school didn't start till like September or something like that.
Okay.
And so I had gone to visit. I tried something called 25I. It's like a research chemical. It's like a derived, I think it's derived of acid. I don't really know. It's just like a dirtier version of acid. It has none of the effects. It was just like a hallucinogen.
Okay.
Synthetic. So went to visit my friends in Tallahassee and took a synthetic drug. I liked it. It was great. It was a fun time. We watched a trippy movie, and then after that we had gone to some like fraternity party and we ran into people. It was just like a new experience. After that happened, I came back home and I was living in Miami at the time. My parents, they had like an apartment on Brickell, and I was like, they wanted me to volunteer, do something with my time because I was literally doing shit. You know what I mean? So, I was at the apartment. I was smoking weed every day, whatever, usual shit. And then I remember it was like, man, I kind of want to trip again. Like, I'm kind of, I'm bored, whatever. Like, I don't have much to do. So I drove back to Boca. I picked up a couple tabs. I think I picked up like 5. I don't really remember because it was so long ago. And then I invited these 3 girls to come over. And then one of them, I think 2 of them had taken the tabs with me. From what I remember, I took 3.
Mm-hmm.
And they each took 1. Something happened. I don't remember exactly what happened, but I ended up having a bad trip. Mm-hmm. And keep in mind, prior to this, my social abilities had skyrocketed. They were incredible because of this kid who I was hanging out with a lot. He introduced me to a lot of people. He explained like he would like give me explanations on how to like act in a social situation.
Okay.
Like basically being a chameleon in a social setting, just like molding to each group, because we used to basically take people's weed, like smoke it, get them too high to move, to function,
Wow.
and then they would literally just pass out. And then if they did work up the courage to be like, hey, did you take my weed? We would just say, no, you smoked it all, because they got too high. And they'd be like, okay, yeah, you're right. So took the tabs. Next day, super uncomfortable. I was in my head the entire time. I was like, I'm being weird. I don't know what's going on. Like, why do I feel like this? Like, I feel really awful. Like, something like snapped in my brain. So they left, and from then on, that was the sole thoughts going through my mind in every social situation, guy or girl. I couldn't communicate. I could not have a conversation, like hold a conversation with people. I couldn't look people in the eyes. I was terrified. So now fast forward, I'm at Arizona. At this point, I'm so far away from home. I knew nobody, and I thought this was going to help with me smoking weed, which was stupid because you find it anywhere.
Yeah.
So I was living in a dorm, and I had been smoking. I found a dealer, whatever, but I wasn't like getting along with people. There was like different social aspects that were also like tough. And so finally it came to a point where I started getting anxiety attacks. And at this point, I was like, it was like severe, so I started blacking out, and then I would like punch holes in walls from the anxiety attack, just so I could have some sort of release from the body. And so I have like scars on my knuckles or whatever from like bloody hands, whatever. Then I met this girl, and we like the first night that I met her, we slept together, and that was like the first time where I was like, oh shit, this is what college is about. Like this is what I was waiting for. And so we were consistent, like sleeping with each other often. I would go over there and just keep going until eventually like catch feelings. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that was the first like serious, like intimate kind of moment. I lost my virginity when I was a senior in high school. Didn't really enjoy it. But then this one was the first time where I was like consistent and I was actually attracted to the person.
Okay.
So I developed, like, I got attached, and she was very toxic. It was like very abusive, like mentally, like fucked me up, like really bad, because she was very controlling. I'm not going to go into details about that. It was just really bad. And so I broke up with her one time, and
One time.
yeah, well,
We
you
know how that goes.
We broke up, and I couldn't live with myself. I just couldn't be by myself.
Yeah.
I just couldn't do it. Didn't have the self-confidence. I didn't have the social abilities. Whatever friends I did have were her friends. So obviously they didn't fuck with me after I broke up with her. Because I also, like, when I broke up with her, I posted an Instagram picture that was like, the only girl I need and marry, you know, some bullshit. Like Mary Jane, like, you know what I mean? You know,
Oh,
that kind
okay.
of shit.
Like very petty stuff.
Yeah, it's just petty for no reason. I was the one that broke up with her, you know, and I was being an asshole. So, whatever. So that happened, and then, like, after a month, I was, like, fucking a mess again. And so I, like, went back to her dorm and, like, begged her to take me back, and she took me back, but I remember she, like, agreed. She was like, okay, fine, we can get back together, but I can still talk to these 3 dudes that I was talking to before, and, you know, like, we can't tell anyone that we're back together. And me being the bitch that I was like, yeah, fine. So whatever, that happened again. We ended up breaking up again. At this point, like, like the week before before I had to come back to Florida, we were in a hospital. She had some condition, and every night I was taking Adderall. The entire week that she was in the hospital, because I wanted to, like, be by her side and, like, stay with her. So during the day, I was sitting there doing my schoolwork, whatever. I'll go to class, come back. But then at night, I stole some Adderall from some kid at my dorm, because he just left his door unlocked, and I was a scumbag. So take Adderall every single night. So I was up for a week straight. And then Friday morning comes. I remember, like, scrolling through, like, the internet or whatever, and I, like, stumbled upon something that was like, are you an addict? And I remember, because I would lie to her a lot about, like, smoking weed, because she always was, like, against it. And so in my head, I was like, oh, fuck, like, this is, like, I'm hitting all the things. Like, I'm a compulsive liar, this, and this. And so I was like, okay, like, I need to go to rehab. So I panicked, like, in that instant. Like, I just freaked out. I called my parents. I was like, I need to go to rehab, blah, blah, blah. Like, I have a problem. Like, I've been stealing from my dad, too. Like, consistently. $100, like, every other week or something like that, when I was in Florida smoking weed. And so that happened. My parents were like, okay, admit yourself to the hospital if you think you're going to hurt yourself. I was like, yeah, okay. So I brushed over something, but there was a moment before I met this girl where I had tried to kill myself. I drank a fifth of Fireball, and I took a bunch of Xanax and whatever. I survived that. Anyways, back to the hospital. So I admit myself, Baker act myself. I'm in there. We end up having a fight while I'm literally in the hospital bed, and then my parents fly from Florida to Arizona. They pull me out of school. I come back to Florida. We're still dating, but I start going to therapy. And so I'm doing therapy, but like nothing's progressing. Everything's just getting worse. So finally, I like work up the courage to like break up with her again, so I could like be alone and do whatever the fuck I want. And I was like, man, I don't want to feel like this anymore. I don't want to feel like shit. Like I hate myself. I hate all this. Like I just want to fucking die. So I was like, what's something I don't want to drink? Like that's too much. You know what I mean? Like that's like drinking during the day. Then I have a problem. So I was like, all right, let me just find someone who has Xanax. Same effect. When you black out, you don't have to feel anything. So that's when I started taking Xanax. I remember the first day that I took Xanax. It was
Hold on. Fuck. I didn't want to do that. Yeah.
You good, bro?
Yeah. I'm good.
You good? Sure.
Yeah.
I thought there was a technical problem.
Yeah.
My eyes were locked on you.
Duke's the technical problem. That's some good shit, bro.
I'm keeping that. I'm keeping that for sure. That's good.
Okay. All right. Sorry.
No, you're good. You're good.
All right.
So I started taking Xanax, and I remember the first day that I like bought Xanax. I was hanging out with this kid. I went to his house afterwards after I bought it. I literally came from because at this point I was starting to go to Narcotics Anonymous meetings. And so I remember speaking at a meeting and saying to them like, more than likely I'm gonna leave here and get fucked up. And everyone's like, no, whatever. I was like, I don't give a fuck. I'm like, whatever. I left there. I went to my friend's house, and I remember like standing in his room. And like normally, like I don't know if you know about anything about Xanax. Typically, people take one and they black out. When I was in that room, I was just ready, so I took 4 off rip. So after I took the 4, I started driving, and I don't remember much. I remember a couple of situations that we were in. I do remember the quantity. I was taking about 30 a day, which is like more than the overdose of a human being.
That's actually insane. My really good friend, he had a little bit of a stint with Xanax.
Mm-hmm.
And he, one time he took 7,
Yep.
and he woke up in Orlando and had no idea how he got there. And then
But now we're talking 30.
Yeah.
And he did, I think it was like 13. Someone snuck some into a blunt.
Yeah,
crushed it
yeah,
up
that's
and
what I
put
would
it
do
in a
too.
Blunt. And he just like came back and was just like so out of it.
Yeah.
And was just like incredibly lethargic.
My mom told me that she was scared to be in the same room with me because I was so aggressive towards her, and I was literally a fucking zombie. There was, this is like fucked up, but I think it's funny too. My mom told me like after everything that happened, she was like, "Oh, you used to like I would have control over your medication because I was taking antidepressants at the time." She was like, I would be giving you the medication, and so when I would give you the medication, I was like confused because I don't remember getting this medication. And I was literally like, I found the pill bottles and emptied them out, and I put Xanax in there, and she would feed me the Xanax because I thought it was funny. Anyway, so I was taking large quantities.
Wild.
Yeah. And
Did
so
she
I
not
was.
notice the change in pill shape?
I think she told me she did eventually, but at first she didn't think anything about it because she didn't think I found anything. So whatever, a whole month goes by. This is the whole month of July, in like 2015, 2014 maybe, something like that. And so I don't really remember much. I just know that I was driving and I was on Xanax and I would smoke Xanax, even though like I learned in rehab from the other addicts that it doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
So they laughed at me every time that I said anything about it. So I was like, all right, like I guess I didn't get fucked up, but whatever. So that whole month happens, and then my parents are like obviously realizing, because I was also stealing from them again. Like I remember vividly going into their safe and taking these diamond and emerald earrings that were like my mom's grandma's earrings,
Like
and
family
pawning,
heirlooms.
like family heirloom. I pawned them at a pawn shop for $80, probably worth like $10,000.
Damn.
I was literally like, my mom told me also she remember saw me like coming out with like all my old like camera shit to like try to sell it and like get money. So whatever, that happens, and then I come to him at a job in Fort Lauderdale. I'm a busser at some Italian restaurant that my friend had got me a job. And I remember just like immediately being like, oh fuck, I'm out of Xanax. And there's no way I'm gonna be able to get any. Just that was the first thing in my head. I had a panic attack. So I called my dad. I was like, hey, like you need to take me to the hospital right now. Like I'm probably gonna die. Like I'm gonna kill myself. He was like, all right. He was like, oh, fuck. You know what I mean? Like again. So he comes, picks me up from work and takes me to one of the hospitals that he knows because he knows a bunch of the hospitals in the area. Yeah. Takes me there.
He's a doctor, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
He's a radiologist. So he takes me there. I get admitted, and then the first 2 days, I mean, obviously I'm on suicide watch, so, you know, whatever they do, when you go there, it's, the places they put people for suicide watch is fucking ridiculous. Because you're put,
Baker's Act?
Yeah, Baker acted, yeah. Because the people you're put with, like, it's not really much help, you know what I mean? You just feel crazy.
So is it like, are you like, oh, so it's kind of like.
So the one that I went to, there's 2 wings. There's
Okay.
wing A and wing B, I think. I really don't remember. I think wing A was the one that I was in that was, like, less, you know, major issues, but then then there was wing B who had like the crazies, because I remember like going for lunch one time because they would like close the doors or whatever, and then like right when lunch was ending there was like a crazy lady like banging on the windows like trying to get in. So whatever, like 2 days pass, my parents are able to get into the psych ward because normally they're not allowed, but my dad has some pull. He brings in, you know, clothes for me to have because I was in my work clothes. And then so I remember sitting on the bed and like they were like, okay, you're gonna go to like treatment in Utah and blah blah blah, this and that. I was like getting changed and I was like putting my pants on. I stood up, and then in that moment, so keep in mind I told you the amount that I was taking. I told the same thing to the doctors and they were like, that's impossible, you'd be dead.
Yeah.
So they were giving me the maximum dosage for an anti-seizure medication. So I was on the bed, I stood up, and I, like, you know when you stand up too quickly and you can't see anything, like you start to lose vision?
Yeah.
That's what happened. Vision? Yeah. It was like a tunnel vision kind of thing, but then, like, the vision wasn't coming back.
Oh.
Yeah.
So I was like, what the fuck is happening right now? I was like, Mom, I can't see anything. She's like, what are you talking about? I was like, I can't see. And then I woke up, and I was on a bed, seizing. For a split second, I remember waking up mid-seizure. And then I woke up again in the ICU. So apparently what happened was, because of the quantity that I was taking, I had a seizure from withdrawals. So after ICU, my mom and dad, they couldn't, my mother especially, she could not stand to like see me. She like, it broke her heart. So they hired a guy to take me to a place in Miami to like come down from the Xanax. And then after detox. And so after that, they sent a guy to take me to Utah. So we flew to Vegas and we drove a car to Utah. And then we drove like the border of Utah-ish. And basically what I did was wilderness. I lived in the wilderness for 3 months. It was like a program. They put you with a bunch of other people who have like a problem.
One of my really good friends did that, but she did it in Hawaii.
Oh,
and it was for an eating disorder.
Yeah, I've heard of places like that.
Kind of just like you learn to do things on your own.
You just basically learn to cope with yourself.
Yeah.
And like learn to live without shit that you don't need, because there's no electronics or anything like that.
She said she wasn't allowed to talk to anyone for the entirety of 3 months.
We couldn't talk to like females. Like females were segregated from us.
Like no one. It was literally like just her by herself, and I think it was maybe 15 minutes a day she was allowed to talk to someone. But like just other like, I guess you could call them campers.
Yeah. I mean, whatever. It was like, it was just like it was that. So we hike 9 miles a day. You had a 60-pound bag. You're like camping pretty much. It was nice. It was nice. I'll give you that. But obviously I wouldn't do it again. But you do therapy. Like they would drive over and they would have like the 2 counselors you'd be with. It'd be like 8 dudes, and we just hike every day. And it would just be like back and forth. You know, we'd all like talk to each other and whatever, just cope. So after 3 months, you know, they were like, okay, like now you're gonna go to an inpatient treatment center in like Provo, which was like half an hour, I think, south of Salt Lake City. So I finally got all my shit. Listening to music is fucking great. I love music because you don't have any music, and you have to sing shit at that point, you know, in wilderness. So they dropped me off, and it was great to just like have a bed because we were sleeping on the ground and shit. And I was still coping with this breakup. Like, it was bad. like this entire time, I was still like I didn't have Xanax
Oh,
to
that
deal
was
with
still
it.
happening.
It
Like, I
was
kind
still-
of actually forgot about
Yeah, yeah.
that part, but you were
internally
still
I
going
was
through
still
it.
going
Yeah.
through it. Yeah, that was why I took the Xanax. I couldn't handle my emotions of the loneliness and the pain and whatever. So, that first day of wilderness was fucking horrible because it was like no drugs. I realized where I was at in the middle of fucking nowhere. So whatever. At this point, I'm at the treatment center. I'm still dealing with this. I'm still like missing her like crazy for I don't know what fucking reason. And so, I after a month, I was like, yo, I lived in the wilderness. Like, I need closure. Like, I need closure. I need to talk to this girl. Because I tried sending her a letter when I was in wilderness, but I got no response. So I was like, oh, like, 9 miles a day? Like, that's easy. Arizona's just around the corner. So, I left treatment. I told them, I was like, hey, like, I'm leaving. They were like, okay, you're, well, how old was I? I think I was 19.
Okay.
So they were like, yeah, I mean, you can go. You just have to tell your parents. So I called my dad. I was like, hey, I'm fucking leaving. So I left. They gave me clothes, like the clothes that I had because my phone and my wallet, like that was stuff that my parents paid for. So like that wasn't my shit. And they were like, yeah, you go do whatever you want, but like you're not getting stuff that your parents bought. Like you're gonna have to deal with the world on your own. So what I did was I was like, all right, how am I gonna I'm gonna go to Arizona. Like, I'll just figure out how to get a job, something like that. Like, obviously, I didn't have a social security number or fucking ID, so, like, how the fuck was I going to do that? I wasn't thinking about that. So I remember, like, I walked, like, 30 minutes north, and then I met these 3 ladies who were really nice, and one lady, she was like, you can come with me, like, take the bus, like, I'll pay for your ticket, whatever, here's money. Super nice, like, people in Utah are fucking nice as hell, like, really nice.
Yeah.
Shout out to Utah.
Yeah, well, fuck Utah, but at the same time, shout out.
Okay, all right.
So we like went 30 minutes south to some random town, like really nice area. Lady was super nice. She bought me dinner too. And then from there, I like went to the highway and I fucking did one of these. Yeah.
Like that's the kind of stuff you see in movies.
Literally.
I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
it actually happened.
Yeah.
Like
And I was, I was standing like on the exit. Like there was like a corner and then they would go onto the highway and go forward. And I was just standing there like doing one of these. And for like 30 minutes, nobody was doing anything. I was like, all right, fuck this. Like I'm just going to walk. And it's illegal to walk on the highway. Like I didn't know that.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, exactly. It's not
didn't know.
common knowledge.
I've
So
seen people do it before.
yeah,
Pretty sketchy.
It's
Down
illegal.
here.
I'm not surprised that it's illegal.
Yeah, I mean you could fucking die.
Yeah.
So I started walking. Within 5 minutes, some dude pulls over and he picks me up. And I was like, okay, this is dangerous, but I wasn't. I didn't think about that. I was like, thank you. Somebody pulled over.
No.
So I got in the car. This dude like the back of his car was like all clothes, like everything was closed, and he like had pick marks on his face. So obviously he had done shit. Like I could tell. Like I was living with drug addicts. Like I could tell who was using meth or who was using crack or heroin. You know what I mean? So this guy was definitely like using meth or something like that. But he was on his way to his job. Super nice guy. So I was like talking to him, whatever. Like, yeah, I'm going to Utah. He's like, what the fuck are you doing out here? I was like, explain the situation. He's like, you know what, kid? You're a really nice guy. I'm glad because I would have used this on you. And he like reaches into the side and pulls out a machete. And so I was like, oh shit, like, yeah, no, thank you. Yeah, I appreciate it. So,
That's
whatever.
Wait,
aggressive.
hold on. I'm sorry. You have to bring that back. He was gonna use it on you.
Yeah, like if I was dangerous.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
it wasn't
I
just gonna like,
thought
I thought you meant
he
just,
picked you up with the intention
to murder me. No.
Okay.
It could have literally like at this point in time, nobody knew where I was.
Okay.
So like the only thing that people knew was like I left rehab. The only people that like maybe 4 or 5 people,
Yeah.
my 2 close friends at the time, my parents, they were the only people who like knew that I left treatment. Actually, just one of them knew that I left treatment. So at that point, like I was just like gone. You know what I mean? It's like literally vanishing.
So if something
did happen,
yeah.
I'd be fucked. I'd be
there
dead.
would be no one to
There'd be
pinpoint your location.
yeah, it's
right?
literally like
I do have to say though, like, why would he pick you up just to put himself in that position? That's kind of like,
Well,
I think he
so-
was just like being. I think he was just being a nice guy.
but at the same time being very.
But I think
cautious.
he was just using the machete just as self-defense if he
Yeah,
needed to.
like,
Okay.
that's
because
exactly
it is sketchy
what
to
it
pick
was.
up a hitchhiker.
Yeah, it's smart for him.
I
to do
was
that.
at my friend's house in Philadelphia once, and my dad came to pick me up, and like he's like, all right, like go get in the car, and like I take like my backpack that I had, and I went in the car, and I went to go get in the front seat, and there was like some random guy sitting in there, and I'm like, what
What's
the
up?
hell? And then like I get in the back, and I'm like, hey man, like what's up? And I was probably
So he was doing the same thing.
13, 14, and he's like, oh, what's up? Like, I'm hiking the Appalachian Trail. Like,
Okay.
your dad picked me up, and he's dropping me off on, like, Broad Street or something.
Okay.
And I'm like,
Yeah.
what the hell? And then, like, he ended up dropping him off. He smelled really bad, but that would make sense. He
Yeah.
was
I
hiking
probably
the
did
Appalachian
too.
Hey,
Trail.
Dan, I was gonna say,
Yeah.
did you smell that?
I mean, no, honestly, like
Reach for
when
that
that when
trail.
that happened, like when I left treatment, it was like maybe like early afternoon, like 11 o'clock.
Because you had been living in the wild, bro. think
Well,
you
I mean,
probably
at
did
that
smell
point, I
bad.
was already living in treatment, like in a rehab facility that literally it was like it wasn't like jail. It definitely wasn't like jail, but it was just like you were locked down and like you were segregated, and you had specific times when you could smoke cigarettes and like when you had like therapy and whatever. So, yeah, so he picked me up. I was like, hey, this is where I'm going. He's like, hey, go to this truck stop. Like people will take you. Someone will take you if you just stay there and like ask truckers. So I was like, cool, thank you, whatever. I go to this truck stop. Flying J. I gotta say the name because they fucking great employees. They fucking great. So
Shout out again to Flying J.
so I went
Sponsor
there.
us, Flying
Yeah,
J.
they were just like super. They didn't like kick me off the property or anything like that. Like they just
That's
saw
cool,
a
that's
kid who was
really
just
nice.
like struggling. So I was standing outside of the door for like a good 4 hours, like going up to truckers and being like, hey, can you guys take me to Arizona? I need to get to Arizona. I need to go to like Phoenix, whatever. And it was like, oh no, we're going to like Las Vegas, California, like whatever. And it got to a point where like, and they were also like, yeah, we can't take you because of insurance reasoning.
Okay.
Like, cause it's not easy to hitchhike anymore because shit's dangerous.
Yeah.
So finally I was like getting tired and I was like, what the fuck? Like nothing's happening. Like what the fuck is going on? So the lady, a trucker, he was like, dude, just get a cardboard box and write where you're going and then someone will take you. So I did that. I wrote, need ride to Arizona. I sat outside there for the rest of the night until morning came. A trucker comes by. He goes, hey man, where are you going in Arizona? I was like, I need to go to Tucson. He was like, all right, well, I'm going to Phoenix. It's an hour away from Tucson. So I was like, fucking, can you take me? He's like, yeah, absolutely. Let me just take a shower quick. So he takes a shower, get in the truck, get in the semi, and then we go.
Wait, hold on. My question is, how were you getting food and stuff if you didn't have
The money that those ladies gave me.
Okay.
Oh, shit. How
Yeah,
much did
they
you?
gave me like $30, and then there was another like trucker lady who like felt bad, so she gave me another 30.
Oh, man,
Yeah.
that's really nice.
It's crazy. Like people are nice.
There are nice people.
Yeah,
out
it's
there.
crazy. Like you don't see it as often as you
Yeah.
should. So after that, we drive, and it takes like 14 hours to get to Tucson, or no, to Phoenix. And then there was a girl that like through like when me and my ex had like the break where I broke up with her. I was like with another girl, like kind of sliding in a little bit. I got there, and obviously I didn't have a phone, so I downloaded Instagram on the truck driver's phone, and then I started DMing people who I knew, and like again, I don't have friends there. Like people just that I thought there was at least one kid who I thought was friends with me, but he wasn't really. So I was like telling people like, hey, I'm coming back. I'm literally on my way to Phoenix right now.
Yeah.
Some people answered, some didn't. I remember I texted one of her friends. I was like, hey, I'm coming back. Like, just want to give you a heads up. So I'm sure they told her
Yeah.
that I was coming back. So whatever. I get to Phoenix. This girl that I was talking to when I was there, she was like, yeah, I'll pick you up. I'll pick you up. Tucson's far, but like whatever. I'll meet you halfway. I fucking forgot about this. So she said she would meet me halfway from Tucson to Phoenix, and I was like, okay, I'll just have to find a ride there. So the gas station that we got to at the truck stop, there was another one across the street. I got there, and like I was asking the lady something like where I could find a ride or something, and she was like, I can't really help you. So I walk out, and these two girls walked in, gave me a weird look, and I was like, what the fuck? So I'm standing outside, like just like literally standing there because I don't know what the fuck I'm gonna do, and these girls come back out, and they're like, hey, like why are you looking at us weird? I was like, you fucking approached me. Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah.
Whatever. One thing leads to another. I was like, I need a ride to Tucson. They're like, the two girls like have a conversation like over there, and they're like, oh, like you want to go they're like, you want to go on a road trip? I was like, holy shit. Like, yeah, I would love to. Like, let's go.
Yeah.
Because they're like, we'll take you halfway.
Yeah.
So, fuck me. We get in the we walk to where we need to go. We get in this car, and one of the girls is like, I just need to go home and get my phone. So I was like, okay, whatever. And like again, like I'm not super exposed to the world, so the only thing I knew was like wilderness and then treatment. So we go, and we pull up to a trailer park. And when we pull up, this girl starts smoking weed. And then, so I think she was like, oh, you want some? I was like, I think I said yes. I was like, yeah, sure, why not? So I smoked. And then her friend went inside. And then, like, I think like 2 seconds later when her friend leaves, she goes, you want some meth? I was like, no, I'm good. I'm all right. So she finishes that. And then her friend gets in the car and we go. We get to the halfway mark and my friend's waiting there. It took way longer than it should have, but whatever. So we get in the car. I get in my friend's car. I was like, just fucking go. Just go. Let's go. So we go to her dad's house. I fall asleep. Next morning, she's like, you want a dab? I was like, sure. Gives me a dab. And then we get to Tucson. We get to the University of Arizona. She drops me off. And then that's the beginning of me being homeless.